With EVO 2017 just around the corner, I thought I would go through the top 15 seeded players and see what their projected road to Grand Finals looks like and how likely that they'll be able to make it there. I covered the top 6 seeded players in my previous video, so in this one I'm going to continue where I left off. Again, as a side note, the projections that I'm going to be using throughout the video are from a simulated bracket of top 32 that uses historical head-to-head data to determine the winner, on which I went back and fixed a few minor errors that existed on there thanks to people who pointed them out in the comments of the last video. So without further ado, let's look at what ChuDat's road to Grand Finals looks like. ChuDat has had an unparalleled meteoric rise this year, from 22nd on the Melee at Omni rankings all the way to 7th seeded EVO. Also, he's the only person this year besides Armada to have a winning record against at least 2 of the 4 active gods. EVO has also historically been great for Ices players thanks to the best of 3s allowing players who are unfamiliar with the Ices matchup to get 2-0'd before they are able to adapt. EVO 2016 is the only EVO in the last 4 years where an Ices player did not reach top 8, with Nintendude still finishing at an impressive 13th place. This data shows in ChuDat's impressive projected 7th place finish, which has a slight possibility of being much higher. The 2 biggest barriers to Chu finishing higher will realistically be Wizzrobe and Plup, who both boast winning lifetime records versus Chu. Although Wizzy and Chu are even in sets this year, Wizzrobe clearly holds the advantage as demonstrated by his 3-0 sweep at Smash Rivals, which was by far Wizzy's strongest showing this year. Chu has had a lot of impressive runs recently, with his 2nd place finishes at FLAN and DreamHack and his win at Battle of BC2, which means this will be a very possible but difficult match for Chu. If he's able to slip by Wizzrobe, Plup will be even more challenging as he is 4-0 versus Ice Climbers mains this year, which means if they meet in losers, ChuDat will most certainly be knocked out by him. However, if he's able to dodge having to face Plup or HBox in losers, there's a very real possibility of Chu finishing 4th, 3rd, or even 2nd if the stars align for him and allow him to play Mewtwo King or Mango. With the number 8 seed, Wizzrobe's methodically impressive Falcon has a much tougher road ahead for him in his projected bracket that has him finishing in an underwhelming 17th place. Wizzy's first big roadblock is Axe, who's not lost a set to a Captain Falcon since Gravy in early 2016 at Pound 6. Then down in losers, Wizzy is slated to face Nintendude, who won the last meeting 2-1 and has only dropped 1 set to him in the last 2 years. But if Wizzy's able to 3-0 Chu, there's a strong chance that he can 2-0 Nintendude. After this, he'd have a Falcon Ditto with none, which would be heavily in Wizzy's favor as he's won this the last 3 times they've met. If he's able to pull off these 3 wins and make it in the top 8, there's almost no way he'll be able to beat Plup, who's only dropped 6 games to Wizzy in their last 7 meetings. So even with a showing like Smash Rivals, Wizzy is most likely going to top out at 7th place. But if you thought Wizzy was a victim of a tough bracket, you'll be immensely disappointed to see what lies ahead for Axe. After his win against Wizzrobe, there is not a single matchup that lies on his road ahead that historical head-to-head data has him favored in. Tafostats reports that since 2010, Axe has not won a single set against Armada, which will cause him to fall right in the West Balls and losers, who defeated Axe in all of their 5 meetings in 2016. But lack of practice with the Pikachu matchup, or West losing out of the tournament early, could allow Axe to go 1 set further, where he would be met with an even larger wall in the form of Leffen, who has 3-0, 3-0, and 3-1 Axe in their last meetings. So in short, Axe is going to need no less than a miracle to make it in the top 8. And last we have easily the most interesting projected path to Grand Finals with CLG's own SFAT. What makes his bracket so interesting is the high probability of variance that could see him finishing 13th or all the way down at 2nd place, largely depending on if SFAT is able to dodge Mango in bracket. Right here we have the worst series of matches that SFAT could fall into in this projected bracket. After being knocked down in the losers by Chu and knocking out his fellow CLG teammate, SFAT would most likely be taken out by West, who has won their last 2 meetings, or by Lucky, who has won their last 7 meetings. This next simulation shows what SFAT's path would be like if he'd be able to take down ChuDat. This would be an amazing role reversal as they met in winners last year at EVO where ChuDat was able to 2-0 him, but with SFAT coming in on a hot streak with his recent win at Genesis Red and his even record with Chu over the last 2 years, it's totally doable. This example then has him losing out versus HBox and then Plup, Mewtwo King, or Mango, but despite what you think this data might show, SFAT has the talent to knock out HBox into losers. Actually, SFAT has won 3 of his last 4 meetings with Hungrybox, which means we might be seeing SFAT in winner's side of top 8, where he realistically lose out to Mango and Leffen or Drugfox. But there's one more realistic bracket manifestation that would be even better for SFAT. If Mango were to drop into losers with either a loss from Plup, which is fairly unlikely, or with doing a usual Mango and dropping to losers early in the tournament, which is much more probable, especially because it's a best of 3 tournament, SFAT could have a real shot at making it in the winners finals. Even Grand Finals finals would not be completely out of reach for him if HBox was able to win out on loser's side and SFAT could take another set off him. Sadly, we would probably not be treated to an interesting grand finals in this scenario, as SFAT has only taken a single game off Armada in the last 5 sets. So yeah, that's my summary of seeds 7 through 10 and where I think they could go in the tournament. I just want to give a huge thank you real quick to everyone who watched my last video. I didn't think it would blow up that much. I was like freaking out watching the view counter go up. I was like refreshing it every second. So I hope you guys enjoy this second shot with a little bit more effort and like photoshopping those little statistic sheets. And I'll try to get the other 5 of the top 15 out before Friday. I'm going to have to work all the way through the day and hopefully get it done for you guys. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this as much as the first video. And I'll see you guys next time.